normal again. Okay.
5 young archaeologists have made a remarkable discovery.
Well, that's the fun stuff, you know.
Paul Walker.
Where's my dad? All right.
Or Paul Walker.
You know, did you know what this was?
Paul Walker.
I like amusement parks.
Paul Walker.
We're making an action movie here.
Ah, shit. I did good though.
Where's my dad? All right.
Is he here? Is he there? Where's my dad?
No,
All right.
it's just my dad. He's playing a prank on us.
I just want to know where my dad is.
All right.
Let's go for a little ride.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Paul Walker.
It's Hangin from the Balcony with Sir Jared, the Professor, Nathan Betts, Miss Professor, and Thomas the Doubter.
Welcome back to another Hanging from the Balcony. I feel weird doing that. I've never done that before on the show, but that's someone else's duty. Jared couldn't make it tonight because he's got to work really early in the morning tomorrow morning, and he has to deal with people that he doesn't like or some crap. I don't know. I stopped paying attention after a little while, but something to do with having to be at work and being able to put up with people, and if he's tired, he'll be too short with them. So
Jobs are always a problem.
yeah, so he's gonna he's probably gonna be going to bed here in like the next 20 minutes because we're starting.
Good night, Jared.
Good night, Jared. Good night, Jared boy. So this is Hanging from the Balcony. I'm at Nathan L. Betts on the Twitter. We've got Thomas the Doubter over there. We've got Lewis the Professor.
Hello.
And we have Miss Professor Kimberly over there. Getting our thing started where we talk about it's a show about movies, and more movies. So let's get into it, shall we?
Kim, you hadn't heard that opening, huh?
No, that was freaking hilarious.
Tickled you a little pink there, did it?
I loved it.
Good.
It was very funny.
There's like this really loud bang, and you hear Vin Diesel go, "Ah, shit!" As I was putting that together, every time that would go by, I would crack myself up. Like, this is the stupidest thing. Like, if someone was watching me work right now, they'd think I was like insane. But every time it'd go by, "Ah, shit!"
I know, my tummy hurts a little from laughing.
Well, that's our we make fun of Paul Walker so much on this show that if we ever get a chance to meet him, I hope he takes it in the spirit in which it's intended, because I actually think he's amazing. I kind of want to meet him someday, and it's all in good fun. So Paul Walker, if you ever want to come on Hanging from the Balcony in Little Lewiston, Idaho, please do it. I'm going to start calling people. I actually tried to get a hold of Tommy Wiseau. I got his contact information on the interwebs and everything, and I just didn't have the balls to hit the go button yet. But now that we're on the YouTubes and like we're on Stitcher and we have our own phone number, which is 1-888-317-2694.
Don't blow it.
Don't blow it. Fuck! I did it. I did it. I fucked it up. So now we're official. So Tommy Wiseau, come on. So we need to talk about movies this time, and I feel weird. Doing this. This is not a normal function for me. But let's get into it. Let's talk about what you guys saw. Do you guys want to start first?
Sure. We saw The Conjuring.
Okay.
The Conjuring. What'd you think, Kim? And you saw it too, right?
And this is just... I have not seen it yet. This is new in the theater this week or last week? Last week.
I want to say maybe even 2 weeks ago.
Was it? Okay.
We saw it last week.
Was it last week?
Had it been out for a week?
About a week and a half ago we saw it.
Anywho,
but you guys ran down to Boise
and
didn't do any movie watching, so...
Yeah,
no,
we did see The Conjuring.
I thought it was really enjoyable. I think Lewis liked it more than I did. But I thought it was really good. They used atmosphere instead of like gore and a lot of violence. So it was like this environment of like fear and like what's gonna happen, and this is really creepy, and then I'm really scared. But it was good. It was very good, and the acting was great.
And based on a true story, correct?
Yes, we've got true story.
Oh, I love that, because I don't believe in any of that stuff,
Sure.
but I love
just the thought of it
fun.
puts
It's
it into
so
your brain.
fun.
You're like,
Well, and they went the extra mile in the credits. They're comparing the actors to the actual people.
It was really
They
cool.
show the actual
newspaper clippings, etc. So it's obviously loosely based on a true story, but it adds more and more merit, and the more merit it adds,
absolutely. And I hope it freaks people out. I really liked it. I'd say it's probably in my top 3 so far for the year. And one of the reasons I liked it is what Kim said. James Wan, who directed it, you'll remember he's the guy that did Saw, the original Saw movie.
Apparently, we're looking at the real,
like the actual house,
from the real story.
James Wan got this kind of reputation after Saw for doing blood and guts and gore and relying on gore, kind of like Hostel type movies.
Yeah.
And so he said, I'm going to prove that I can make a scary movie with hardly any blood or guts. And there's very little.
See, that's great.
And it's a creepy movie.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think creep is good.
But that's what I'd much rather watch a really creepy movie than a movie where just people get killed every 3 minutes, and I don't care about any of them.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. On those torture porn ones, I get into it and I see just like the most randomly god awful things. I'm like, okay, I could care less about this now. I am grossed out and I just want to go home now.
Yeah,
and I really kind of want my mom. I think I would piss myself a little bit. So thanks for that. Now I'm not going to sleep for 4 weeks, assholes.
Well, we're looking at the picture right now, and what was really cool, Lewis and I were talking about how usually you see scary movies and they have either a couple or they have a couple with a child or 2 children. They don't have 5 daughters, and that made the story really cool. Like we thought, and all 5 daughters are so unique, and the actresses that did it, the parts were just really cool. They did a great job.
It definitely is unlike. For me, it's unlike other movies. I mean, it's not The Exorcist and it's not Amityville Horror, although you can kind of get a sense of some of those other films. But like Kim says, with 5 daughters, typical screenwriters will shy away from a huge family like that. It's just too hard to tell them apart.
Too much to do, yeah.
And so they do a great job of, for me, of keeping it creepy. And what I loved most is the ghost hunters.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I love how brave they are.
Well, and they add a degree of you actually, the way they talk about it, you learn a lot, as far as they aren't the stereotypical badass ghost hunters who just come in, they're like no, and they just have this attitude. They're actually like these loving people who like to help people, and you see them in the classroom and talking about it. And if you were into this sort of stuff, they're almost like the type of people you'd want to get in contact with.
Absolutely,
like she does, Lily Taylor, the mom.
Yeah.
Oh, the mom was so good. That actress
she was great.
No, that's Vera Farmiga. She's great too. But
those were the two.
If you
the
go
couple.
up a bit,
the ghost hunters.
That one with the match.
Disco?
The match. Yeah, that's the mom.
I thought she did a really good job.
What's her name? Oh, Lily Taylor.
And we talk about as far as the creep and the atmosphere, and it's obviously terrific in this movie. I mean, even the to increase the suspense, the techniques they used were awesome, and they weren't over the top. But I loved.
That's James Wan.
Oh, okay.
I love the fact that there were a few scare parts, and what's wonderful is you never know when to expect it, just like a well-made creep movie. As far as they knew when to throw it at you, or throw it at you is like when you let your guard down. It seemed like he that's when he threw something at you, and you got the most jumps.
Now,
I'll tell you what: if you're gonna make a horror film. I would suggest you watch this film very closely for how to make a scary film on a very, very low budget. A lot of, like this scene where she's holding the match, anyone could film that, right? Like a scary basement, a scary cellar. Everyone's
could probably
got a
do it down
cellar,
here,
right? Like anyone can find and just where she's moving through the house and she hears a noise here and then she moves a little further and then a door closes that shouldn't be closing. Like anyone could film that, right? But it works.
Well, I think something to compare it to that Lewis and I were a little bit less happy with was the Ethan Hawke film. Which one was that?
Oh, yeah.
Sinister.
Oh, Sinister.
What Sinister does that I think is kind of to its detriment is it's too dark. He
heard
never
dark.
turns on a fucking light, and she turns on lights and looks for things, and she's so brave and it's so real. And I think Sinister was trying to do something more than it needed to. It should have just been more simple.
Is that a person on the ceiling?
Yeah, she's floating because the demon's
but I like that because the
spinning
scene
her
where
around.
Lily Taylor's looking around the house and she walks through every room and turns on the light looking for this noise that she's hearing, and it's very
Don't
good.
you hate horror films when they don't turn on? You're just like, turn on the light.
Yeah, turn on the fucking light.
The way they're reacting to the scary things that are happening is very natural. As far as there's never been a point in this movie where I rolled my eyes. Like,
wow,
I was actually amazed.
Which is pretty
amazing.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah, no.
So you enjoyed it too, then, Tom?
No, yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. And like they said, I'm glad they didn't have to go to blood and guts or any of the stereotypical. I mean, it almost feels like a traditional horror movie, but it's still, still fresh.
That's what's surprising to me is it still feels fresh, even though they don't. I mean, you're not gonna have any huge surprise where. I don't know. Like I said, it felt like Exorcist meets Amityville Horror meets this movie meets that movie, but for some reason it all came together pretty effectively for me, and I probably liked it more than everyone else because, I liked it a lot, but I think I liked it a lot because I felt like at no point was he treating me like an idiot, and at no point was he saying, "I'm going to get a cheap thrill
gonna
here."
get you. Yeah.
They really shy away from the it's just my mom who I heard her noise. Like when there's something scary,
everything's real.
It's
for real.
And what's really nice also about the movie is it's not all in this house. It's not all in this house. Yeah. It looks at the ghost hunter's family. It goes to the school and some of the investigations that they've done. So you're getting more of an outside look as far as the way they've dealt with paranormal investigations before, and that you can use that in a comparison to how severe like this current haunting is, and like. You can tell a difference that this is a really, really bad thing considering what's happening compared to their past cases. But and it's really entertaining to watch their past cases, to be honest. It is. Like when they're talking about it.
Like the opening sequence.
Yeah.
Now, do we have a psychological reason why everybody's freaked out by a fucking old creepy doll? Why are they so goddamn creepy? Because I'm creeped out by every doll I come across.
To be honest, though,
especially if they're older than like 10 years old.
Poltergeist.
Yeah, theory. I mean, because the clowns weren't scary back in the day, but now everyone's terrified of clowns because Hollywood's kind of taken advantage of that fear.
Go back and look at it. Watch just the first 5 minutes. When that clown is down in the sewer going, "Hey, you want to come down here and play with me?" It's not that clowns are scary, and it's not that sewers are scary, but a clown in a sewer shouldn't be there, right?
Well, yeah, and a clown going, "Hey, you want to come down here?" Like his voice is unnerving.
Come here.
Yeah.
There's balloons down here. And you're like, oh. So, and it's the same thing. Dolls.
Well, dolls can't have any expression other than the one they have, so that's really creepy because we read faces for emotion.
That's true.
And so we get really freaked out too.
And isn't also something that would normally be innocent, like innocence.
It's innocent. It's something that children are supposed to deal with.
Yeah.
It's also not supposed to be moving on its own, so anytime you have a doll turn its head or be in a different place than where it was left, or a noise from a room, you go in, there's just the doll.
Oh, he did such a good job with that doll scene at the beginning. It was
the doll
so
scene
good.
At the beginning was
it was so
scary
good.
as shit. And you know what? There's actually a scene, this won't spoil anything, where the ghost hunters go to they're called in by a family, they go up into the basement, and they're looking around for some kind of a scary monster thing, and then the main ghost hunter guy goes, "Oh, it's just the pipes. It's just pipes. You don't have a ghost. It's just they're creaking. It's just pipes." And I love that because it's not all scary monsters the whole time. Like sometimes it's just the pipes.
Sometimes it's nothing.
Yeah, and he even explains that most of the time it is something with the house, like the architecture or the pipes,
something
which makes you feel like they're legitimate, real, and they actually do know when there's
even more real. I love it.
Yeah.
Definitely recommend this movie. I mean, see it in theaters if you can.
For sure.
Awesome.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Excellent.
We're all on board on that one.
I got to go see it, but I'm gonna have to see it by myself because there's no way I'm dragging Amy to that. She won't go.
Will she have nightmares or?
She'll have night terrors, and she refuses to go, which is weird because our history for the 2-second version is when we first got together. Our first major road trip was to go to Spokane, and we went to Horror Fest 2010 or 2009 maybe, 2000 whatever. Fuck, this is a long time ago.
We should do that.
But
Okay.
3 days, 12 movies. We watched all 12 of them, and some of them were pretty bad, but a couple of them were pretty creepy. And now she just can't watch them anymore.
Huh.
She
Really
gives her night terrors. So.
Oh, that's
Well,
not
I have
good.
to sit in the back row actually because I don't want people coming up from behind me and like snatching me or stabbing me or something. I get really weird. So I'll go and watch them, and we'll sit in the very, very back row, which is shorter than the other rows, which totally blows. But
That sucks.
Yeah, when I
for
first
knee space.
when I
Yeah.
first met Kim, she was really hesitant about horror films, and I don't know. You kind of love them now, right?
Yeah,
Blossom.
it's queer. It's weird. It's weird because I'm the exact opposite. We met because of horror films, and now she refuses
I
to
like
watch
me
them.
a
It's
good
so
one.
weird. Yeah.
I do. I'll watch just about anything.
She saw the previews for that. She's like, "Fuck that movie."
Actually, I think my problem is it's not like I dislike them, but there's so many bad ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and there's so many bad ones that get a lot of big hype on them,
Yeah.
like that Sinister one. I skipped it because everyone that
Sinister
went
got
said it was awful.
After it was over, I kept hearing all these really good reports on it, and so we finally watched
Yeah.
it, and I was really disappointed with
Yeah.
it because I think Sinister does all the things this movie doesn't do.
All the things that makes this one good.
Right.
Yeah.
that
People
one
make
didn't
choices
do.
that I don't believe, like they don't turn on lights. There's scenes in Sinister where he turns everything off in his office, locks the door, gets in bed. He's the only one with the key. 2 hours later, he wakes up because his
film
projector is on in the office. He goes over, the door's open, the projector's running, playing these snuff films, and he's like, huh. He doesn't turn on a light. He just walks over to the projector and goes, that's weird. And then he wanders around the house to try to figure out who opened the door. In the dark.
That's not that. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what I would do. We're like lights.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And because he does
As
that,
I'm shitting my
and
pants.
it's meant to create an atmosphere of darkness and fear and everything, but it ends up making me mad.
Yeah.
And I just
'Cause
go,
because you know-
you deserve to get eaten by a
Yeah,
monster
whatever
now."
happens to you, you deserve because this
Yeah.
is not realistic.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So don't see the
Conjuring,
Sinister, see the
good.
Conjuring.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Anything new in the theaters that anyone caught this last
Well, that's it. The Conjuring. We're gonna see Red 2
this
for
weekend?
next week. Yeah.
Nice.
And then we'll see. Did you see?
I didn't make it out
No.
to the theater. Oh shit! I did make it out to the theater. I completely forgot. I made it to the Internship.
Nice.
Owen Wilson and
yes.
Vince Vaughn.
It's everything
So-
that you were expecting to be like a Wedding Crashers Part 2 esque. Like you realize that it's not Wedding Crashers, but you realize it's those two together. So you're expecting a certain amount of
Broness.
yeah, a certain amount of something out of them. I don't know what the right word. That's pretty close. But I turned to Amy about 25 to
Amy
30
had to
minutes.
see it too?
Amy went with me. Yeah.
Oh.
I went to. I bent over to her. I was like, I've never. I don't think I've ever said this before. I am actually bored. I am
Really?
so bored.
Bored.
Oh.
I was like, none of the
You
jokes
weren't
that
just
they're
laughing.
No,
nonstop?
nothing. Well, and that's what you're expecting with those two at this point.
That's what you're being. What's being
Led to
advertised.
And by the time you actually gave a shit about them, it was kind of like Burt Wonderstone. By the time you gave a shit about him, it was like the third act, and you're like, fuck it, I don't give a shit anymore. I just want this to be fucking over. And it was about 25 minutes too long.
Was that the Steve Carell?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what? I made a list of my favorite and least favorite movies so far of 2013. I put Burt Wonderstone like second worst.
Yeah, it is bad.
It's bad.
It is-
And the way I did it is I said, okay, this movie versus this movie, which did I like better? And I just did that for all my movies.
yeah.
And
Burt Wonderstone ended up-
Wonderstone came out way low.
You might actually have liked Burt Wonderstone better than this one. This was
Really?
really bad. It was like the
man.
jokes just fall flat. There's a whole sequence which you see in the preview where they send him on this fake mission to go find Professor Xavier. Like, I'm sorry, in 2013, what person between the age of
Anything?
13 to 46, 56, 96, who doesn't know who Professor Xavier is, at least by association? Like, he's a dude in a wheelchair that's bald.
Sure.
And they send him after, they're like, oh, you need to go and find Professor such and so at this university. Okay, what's he look like? He's in a wheelchair. And then immediately the other one sees where he's going. He's like, yeah, and he's bald. And then the other one chimes in. He's like, yeah, and he also just keeps on piling on. And finally, you're like, okay, funny. But then they get there and they don't realize what's going on. It's so bad. It was so terrible. And
you make an interesting point. There used to be a joke about nerds, like in movies like Revenge of the Nerds and stuff, that only nerds knew that kind of comic book pop culture stuff.
Yeah.
But in 2013, that joke doesn't fly anymore. No. Everybody's seen X-Men. Everybody goes to Batman.
Right.
You know?
I think, and to quote someone else that didn't make the great joke, but to quote The Onion, they nailed it perfectly. It was the best comedy that 2006 could have offered us. Like, back when people were still getting to know what Google was, like,
right,
it was still getting, like, it was still up there, but not 96-year-old grandmas were familiar with Google products. Google hadn't taken over the world. Like, I had a phone malfunction recently, and my phone almost got right back to where the other one was within a couple of keystrokes because I had it all backed up to Google. Like, that's the state that Google is in now. Like, Google is everywhere. Google owns everything. YouTube isn't even YouTube anymore. I mean, it is in name, but it's owned by Google. That was a great move on their part. You know, like, just in 2013, there's no such thing as not knowing what Google is, and there's so much of this that it shows, like, behind the scenes of, like, how Google works. But even that, like, you were aware that they get, like, these catered, like, 5-star chefs to make their meals for them. You know, you might not know that they have nap pods, but you realize that you can, like, go and take a nap at Google. Like, there's there's rumors that you've heard that you've pretty much are aware of by now, and they're trying to push Google onto us like nobody knows what it is.
I heard it was kind of an advertisement for Google.
Basically.
Like a 2-hour advertisement.
It basically, as of right this moment, shows some things that Google is able to do.
Do people still need to advertise Google at this point?
Not really, because Google is... Like, Google's a noun now. Once you become a noun...
Yeah, Google it.
Yeah, you Google it. Yeah, you don't search for it, you Google it.
I always like to say to my students...
Gonna Bing it?
Just Bing it. Because they all look at me like, holy cow, this guy's using Bing. Just go to Google and Bing it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, go to Google and search Bing.com and you'll come right up. It was bad. Don't go to it. Literally don't even rent it unless you want to see how bad it was.
Okay.
If you want to compare it to Burt Wonderstone, that'd be the only reason to watch it at this point.
Why did I hate Burt Wonderstone so much? At the time, I was
because we didn't give a shit about Burt Wonderstone.
He was an awful person.
He was an awful person. The Olivia, what's her name?
Olivia Wilde.
Yeah,
so
like,
and there wasn't any of that going on in this movie. It's just like you literally didn't care about what they were doing. Yeah, like I've never been like Thomas makes fun of me all the time. I can find some sort of worthwhile to not stopping watching a movie. We almost left. It was that bad. I don't leave movies, and this was at the Dollar Theater, and so like you just suffer through it. And I wanted to leave. I really wanted to leave, and I hated it so bad that I forgot that I saw it. That's how bad it was. Like you asked me what I watched this last week. I gave you something from Netflix that I watched because I'm like, I haven't been to the movies in the last couple weeks.
What did you see on Netflix?
I actually caught Guns, Girls, and Gambling on Netflix. Awful title, not a bad film. It has
really.
It has
sounds ridiculous.
It sounds terrible. I cannot for the life of me remember who's in it right now, so I'm gonna.
And this is on Watch Now.
Instant.
It was so memorable you couldn't remember the people.
No, it's got
you don't own it.
Christian. It's got Christian Slater in it.
Ooh, Christian Slater. He's a hot
commodity.
Yeah.
It's from 2011. It's got a gal that looks like Charlize Theron that's in it, but it's not. It's Gary Oldman was who I was trying to think of.
Oh wow, Gary Oldman.
And this, what's his name? Powers Booth is in it, and this guy's in it.
Dane Cook's in it.
Dane Cook's in it. I'm trying to get it. I'm trying to get to the.
Gary Oldman. What?
There we go.
He's the only good one.
Christian Slater, Powers Booth,
Jeff
Dane
Fahey.
Cook, Jay Fahey,
Chris
Chris Kattan was in
I
it.
didn't know that guy was
He
still
plays
alive.
He plays he's in it briefly. He plays there's one of the subplots of the movie is there's 5 Elvises. Gary Oldman is one of them. Chris Kattan plays Elvis, but he's a gay Elvis, and it's really funny. He walks around in Uggs. Megan Park, who I think is the gal that looks like Charlize Theron, is in it. There's a lot of really famous people in it, and
you say it's okay, huh?
It's not bad. There's a bunch of like Native American jokes through the entire thing that kind of seem racist on the surface of them, and then you think about it, you're like, oh, I guess that kind of makes sense a little bit.
Racist also under the surface.
It makes sense.
This is like racist on 2 levels. This is great.
Interesting.
There's a bunch of Native American things throughout the movie. I don't know if the person that wrote it just decided that there needs to be like a bunch of Native American awareness, or what the deal is.
Well, it's a writer-director.
Right, writer-director, yeah. And I think he actually he produced it and edited it. He kind of Kevin Smithed it, but Michael Winnick did the whole thing. And it's
and it's fun, huh?
It was kind of
It's
fun.
worth a try, says Lewis as he looks at me.
He's like, oh, God, don't trust him. No, I think I ended up giving it, because you can't do half stars, I ended up giving it 4 stars on the Netflix. If I could have done half stars, I would have given it 3.5. It was
4.5.
It was, yeah. I mean, it was right. Like, if I could have given it 5.5, I would totally done that. It was a lot funner than I thought it was going to be.
Right.
I started watching a show called Nude Nuns with Big Guns, and I could only make it 20 minutes into it. I'm like, I gotta stop this. This is awful.
Was it awful?
It was really bad.
Were there nude nuns?
There was nude nuns, a lot of them, and they had a bunch of AK-47s and bigger guns than that. So
I have a colleague that told me he watched that and he thought it was a pretty good movie.
Oh, really?
It was a pretty good movie.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I made it 20 minutes, and like I said, I can watch anything.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
and
Yeah,
I was there when he told her, this is a good movie.
It is a good movie.
And I kept looking at Kim going, oh, it sounds like a good movie. Maybe she goes watch it.
Yeah.
Not happening.
So it's that's bad.
So that's bad.
Despite nude nuns with big
Despite
guns,
the
bad.
wonderful title.
Right.
Despite the big guns.
See, honestly, right. Some of the guns were their huge nipples. I don't know. See if you can make it 25 minutes or 26 minutes. I made it to the 25-minute mark.
I did
couldn't
manage
do
to
it.
finish Sleeping Beauty.
Did you? How was it?
You loved it, right?
That's good. I didn't know you never finished it.
I didn't know you didn't either.
No. I said I managed to finish.
Oh, you mean?
I thought like right now it took you like so many months to get
right,
through
I
it.
totally misunderstood.
Oh my God.
I was giggling
I was
for the
gonna
wrong
say,
reason.
that movie
He's saying he can sit through
I got
it.
you.
Yeah,
I got you.
We can finish.
Well, you know
it.
what? Sleeping Beauty was lacking. Big guns.
Big guns, and well, there was a lot of nudes. There wasn't nuns, but
where
there was a lot
were
of
the
nudes.
nuns?
Right.
Well, I need my nuns.
Yeah.
Well, there are nuns running
to have me
drugs
some
too,
nuns.
so it was pretty awesome.
Oh, super.
Yeah. So skip nude nuns, but check
That
out Guns,
movie-
Girls, and Gambling. It was,
That
I thought it was
title
all right.
is built specifically
To grab
to
me,
get my.
because that's why I clicked it. I'm like, yes, and go.
I was gonna say my dad. We went to.
Oh my gosh! Yes,
we went
this
to
is the
my dad's.
funniest.
My,
This
no,
is great.
my dad is the sweetest guy ever in ways, and he's a very proper person, but he lives alone and he's got a DVR and a Netflix, and we're just going through his Netflix queue.
Every third movie has some title like Guns,
Room
Girls,
and
and
Wrong,
Gambling,
Guns, Girls,
or
and
Nude.
Gambling.
That's it. It's just like in the pictures are always just some woman in this like lascivious position, and you're just like,
Yeah, we're like,
oh jeez,
what have you been watching?
yeah, what's the
Bunch of
what's-
smut. I'm bored.
Which one of these should I watch, Lou? Huh?
No, yeah,
Oh, shit.
that's.
Yeah.
And you know what? Actually, movies do that, right? They know who their audience is. They know that if they call a movie "Nude Nuns with Big Guns," they're going to get
Oh, it caught me.
enough hits
Yeah, it
to
fucked me over.
justify their existence.
It fucked me over bad. So yeah.
So should we get on to news?
Yes. Let's check out what we got going on for news. having a hard time seeing the board over there. There's something called Stalingrad. I didn't.
Stalingrad?
Of course, the only one I didn't have pulled up here.
Well, we also heard from Comic-Con. I'm sure everyone's heard about this by now, but the new Superman movie, they're talking about how it's going to be Superman and Batman.
Yes.
And I have mixed feelings about that. How about you, Thomas? You're the guy I go to for my Superman, Batman.
To be honest, they managed to pull it off in the animated series, but they actually had some good writing there. It can be really fun. Because they are on two different spectrums, and you throw in some good writing, like as far as their conversations or the weird way they work together or may work against each other. I think there's a lot of potential there, but it could also be incredibly bad. One problem I have is they don't. They're kind of similar in the way that Superman. He's not like a carefree or nice guy. He didn't have the time to be like likable, like in a friendly sort of like it's Superman. He's a nice guy sort of way. Bring to that. Then maybe I mean, you never know.
The take that I've been hearing and the buzz that I've been hearing around the interwebs is that this is a fantastic way to lead up to a Justice League movie on purpose.
That's the goal. That is the ultimate goal.
The Avengers movie kind of seemed like it was an afterthought after the success of Thor and the success of Iron Man. And they're like, oh my god, these were way bigger smash hits than we ever could have dreamed of.
Well, it was really
now we
Iron
need to
Man,
do this.
Sure.
Yeah, it was,
Iron Man, I don't know if anyone remembers this, but before Robert Downey Jr. got hold of Iron Man, he was at best a B-level superhero.
Oh, definitely.
Maybe even a C-level. Like, Iron Man was a piece of shit for a character.
I honestly do not see any other person making that character cool. I can't think of a single person.
No, but boy, Downey Jr. nails it, right? And so he does such a good job with Iron Man that suddenly they're like, well, we can pull out Captain America, who's kind of a B level, and we
literally
can pull
dusted him
Thor.
off too. Yeah,
I mean, Thor, really?
When Thor came out, I didn't watch that until it came out onto DVD and all that good stuff because I was like, really? Why? Why is there a feature film with Thor?
Right.
Then I watched it. I was like, "Fuck! I guess I should have."
It's kind of good,
because
right?
there was some gorgeous Australian man body in it.
God, though.
Isn't he English?
Whatever
No.
he is.
Hemsworth?
Hemsworth? I thought they were.
What?
I thought they were Australian.
They're Australian.
Yeah, I thought they were.
I'm gonna stand by Australian.
All those gorgeous Australians.
I really do.
She literally, when Thor walked out without a shirt on the very first time, and we're in the theater, I'm looking at
shit.
and I'm just like, oh, that guy's built, and I hear next to me, oh my.
No, you're making that up. I giggled. I giggled a lot. I wasn't going, oh my.
She did. I looked at her, and she was like fanning herself, and she said,
oh, you're right.
He is. Look at that.
Melbourne. Just pure handsomeness.
It's the voice from Australia.
Wait, till you guys watch the Wolverine. You'll probably hear more.
So you've got, Chris and Liam, and then you've got Simon Baker.
Simon Baker.
A lot of handsome Australians.
Yeah.
Well,
no, it was a little hard to handle.
Wait, what's
yeah.
the from True Blood? The what the fuck is his name?
Skarsgård?
Yeah,
No.
Skarsgård. What's
Skars? Is he?
Alexander Skarsgård. That's a good looking dude,
Eric?
right? Yeah.
Sure.
Eric
we never really
Viking.
We got through season 1, then we
Past
stopped.
season 1.
I got to season 2 and stopped. I got
Yeah.
season 2 got too weird. I was like,
Couldn't do it.
We heard season 2 was super campy.
Super
and we
weird,
thought
yeah,
if
super
we were
weird too.
Yeah, but we didn't do it.
Well, speaking of Superman and Batman.
Oh right. That's where we were.
Apparently
Nice segue.
Apparently Zack Snyder read a few lines when he announced it from The Dark Knight Returns, the scene where Batman beats up Superman.
He actually got the actor that he wants to play it to come read it.
Is that what he did?
Yeah.
Okay. But so now this is where I maybe am concerned. I think there's potential for something really great here, and it makes sense that if you're going to introduce them in the same world, Superman and Batman, you want to have a scene where Batman shows Superman, look, you may be all powerful and everything, but I figured out how to beat you. But I kind of, part of what made The Dark Knight Returns so interesting is Superman and Batman were always friends, and then suddenly we see them in retirement, and we realize that Batman has always been watching out. He's always had a plan in case he had to put a stop to, to Superman. And I wonder about starting at that place. Like Thomas says, maybe it's too dark of a place to start.
As far as like timeline wise, doesn't that actually happen quite a bit in the future compared to what's going on currently in the world?
Yeah, it would. I mean, I can see they're going to write whatever story they want to write, and if they want to make it that kind of confrontational,
and it's not that you can't change it. I'm just saying like what's already been established as far as fans go, and fans getting pissed off about it and whatnot.
We'll see, and it'll be interesting to introduce a new Batman actor.
And that's the big question now: is who's it going to be? Joseph Gordon-Levitt was associated with the old one, or the one that just wrapped up, so they probably don't want to take on him.
Right.
I was listening to a Kevin Smith podcast earlier today, and he thinks that John Hamm would be a good one. I think he might he might skew a little too old.
No. He might go too old.
For the acting ability, he might be able to pull it off, but for the looks and
Can I tell you, my sister, she's not a movie person at all. She saw The Dark Knight Rises. Someone talked her into finally seeing it. She hadn't seen any other Batmans. And then
none of them?
No.
None. Ever.
You didn't tell
and
what she thought.
She comes out of it and she says, he can't even fly.
I thought he was like a bat.
I thought he was a Batman.
I thought he got bit like from a bat, like Spider-Man.
Picked the wrong one.
So I was like, well, what did you think, though? Did you enjoy it? And she goes, all he does is get beat up the whole time.
Yeah,
he kind
of did get beat up a lot of the time.
And I'm like, yeah, well, he's going to fight. He's going to be against Superman in the next Superman movie. And she's like, well, then he'll just get killed because there's no way he can, So I don't know, maybe.
So they have to be against each other? Comic that's not my strong suit.
So in the comics, they're actually on the same team.
Okay.
But
why can't they be on the same team?
In the mid '80s, they
put them against or pit them against each other. It's like
there's
one of
a story where they
stories
right because 80s. And the idea is that Batman works with Superman, but he's so much of a thinker that he's always got a contingency plan for everything, and including what if Superman ever goes out of control?
Rogue, yeah.
Because if Superman doesn't keep himself under control, the rest of us are fucked. What can we do?
Yeah, I was just wondering how can Batman ever win? I'm sorry, but you pick...
Well, just the geek thrown out here, he's one of the richest men in the world. Therefore, and kryptonite exists in this world, so he can easily get his hands on kryptonite.
Which he does.
He's made a kryptonite gun that fires a kryptonite bullet. He's he actually always supposedly, it's kind of, they throw it in the comics, he always carries around a piece of kryptonite in his belt. Lead lined.
So can Superman feel kryptonite immediately?
Not through lead. That's why lead. It's lead lined.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good thing Superman's got kryptonite.
He's smart. Always a thinker.
No, and actually the whole Dark Knight Returns story, I mean, there's a bunch of factors that they came through in that story, how and he was even able to stand up to Superman, but there's a reason why it's so popular.
And in the Dark Knight Returns, the Dark Knight Returns is available as a movie now, but the comic, part of what made it so brilliant is Superman always stood up for America and the government. And in Dark Knight Returns, the government has kind of gone off the rails. They've become evil, a lot like a 2013 government might look. And Batman's protesting this, right? He's fighting against it, and so Superman shows up and he's like, hey, they say I have to stop you, so I'll do what the president says, even if the president's wrong. And that's why Batman has to fight him. It's not just because...
Yeah, it's not like they have a beef or anything.
Yeah, and in fact, Superman even shows up and
like,
gives him a chance, and he's like it's Bruce to Clark, and they're like... He's like, I don't want to do this. Let's just give it up, man. And he's like, no.
Okay.
And in the end, actually, there's... Superman kind of realizes that some of what Batman's doing is right, and so Superman kind of works.
So when's this happening? Batman, Superman.
Batman, Superman is supposed to be...
Or are you talking about what they're talking about?
The movie?
Like the new...
I want to say it's like 2015?
At the soonest, 2015.
Well, it's the next Man of Steel movie is when all this is going to go down. So I believe it's slated for 15.
But not the next Batman movie.
No.
Well, it will be.
Will be?
Well, technically, because they're gonna bring Batman into a Superman movie, but he's literally, for the first time ever, and at least the first time ever in film, Batman will actually be the co-star. He'll actually be Plan
not
B.
the lead,
He won't be the lead.
He'll be supporting.
But his own, like, this will give it a chance to relaunch another franchise, but not till like the 20s or 2021 or something like that.
It's only the second Superman movie. Do you think it's too soon to bring in like another superhero? I mean, they just established, like, in the first movie, like, I am who I am. I know what I want to do now, and now they not very much.
I think it's too soon, but what do I know? I mean, I also liked Man of Steel, and everyone I've talked to, my whole family thought it was the worst movie that we.
Well, except for your nephew.
I still haven't seen it yet.
He loved it.
I think almost everyone except Nathan who hasn't seen it liked it here.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I really liked it. But
I mean, I didn't.
Boy, my sister was like, "This is the most boring movie I've ever seen." But then again, she thinks Batman should be able to fly. So.
Right. Well, and from the way I understand it, their thinking now is that it will give so they'll introduce Batman, and then on Man of Steel 3 they'll bring in the Flash, and then Wonder Woman, they're working on getting her own title. And then by 2018, they'll be ready for the Justice League.
Wow, we plan 5 years ahead like that now. Well, these blockbusters. Listen, guys, blockbusters. Hollywood can't sustain that forever. The R.I.P.D. cost $200 million. It made $12 million or whatever it was.
Did not look good.
Meanwhile, The Conjuring cost $15 million and it made $40 million.
Right.
I don't see how Hollywood. Now, the reason they do these blockbusters is every once in a while they spend $200 million and they make $1 billion.
Right.
And they say, we just made $800 million, like that.
Yeah.
What they forget, though, is every time they make a Lone Ranger or an R.I.P.D., they lose $200,000. And it just
$200 million.
$200 million. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's literally whatever they make, they waste trying to do it again.
And because they put so much money in it, they know they have to get a big audience. And because they have to get a big audience, they water everything down. They make everything as generic as possible.
Well, and they rely too much on that Hollywood formula to where it's literally insert this actor here. It's put you piece it together like a Tetris block, and you end up with a shit movie that nobody wants to see.
Well, the good thing is, though, I mean, a lot of these movies, not all of them, obviously, but like Avengers, you have Joss Whedon, who's almost always been a great
genius writer so far,
and director.
Doesn't really have he doesn't really have any stinkers under his belt, does he?
Yeah, he does.
Does he?
Dollhouse.
Oh,
Dollhouse is
and Alien 4.
Alien 4's got some problems, definitely.
I mean, I enjoyed it
for the most part. He's got a pretty good track record. Though.
His problem with Alien 4 was that they got in his way. The studio got in his way.
I see. Well, hopefully that doesn't happen with Avengers 2, and then you got Superman director, and then who's the executive producer?
Zack Snyder and
Nolan.
Nolan. Christopher Nolan's executive producer. Hopefully with names like that, and you can tell they have a passion for film.
Well, and not only passion for film, they have a passion for the things that they do. Like, they have a passion for, specifically, they have a...
Zack Snyder has a passion for comic books.
Right. It was obvious that he had a passion for... Nolan had a passion for Batman. It was obvious. I haven't seen it yet, but just seeing the reviews and seeing what I have seen from Man of Steel, it was obvious that Zack Snyder has a passion for Superman. So, like, it's putting the right person behind the wheel, not just being like, we need this, and here, and arrange it, and then it's crap.
You're right. Well, and Joss Whedon, when he does a superhero movie, I mean, did you read his Astonishing X-Men comics? They're really good. I mean, those are comics he wrote 5 or 7 years ago, and they're great.
His Firefly comics are really good too.
Yeah, he understands comic books. He understands the whole appeal of superheroes and what actually engages us. He realizes it's not just the big fight at the end of the movie, but it's also the relationships between the
things
characters.
That happen to get you there, yeah.
And I think that's why he's going to make successful movies. And James Gunn is doing Guardians of the Galaxy now. I think he really enjoys that kind of geek world and understands it. So there's a lot of potentially good stuff out there. The only problem, or my only concern, is that the studios, because they invest so much money in it, I worry they come back and they say, this doesn't work, it's too sad, or something like that, and then they're like, oh, okay, I guess we'll just cut it out and do it the most generic way possible.
We'll do it the watered down
We haven't
way.
seen a hot girl in spandex for 5 minutes. Oh well, let's bring in Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, let's pull a Star Trek 2 on us and just for no reason have some girl walk by in her bra. Okay,
do you remember that? You know what J.J. Abrams said about that scene?
I think he
said,
apologized for it.
He did.
Didn't
He goes, it was completely gratuitous. We put it in there purely, just so that people could say, "Oh, there's a hot girl in the bikini."
In his defense, he said they took out a shower scene with Cumberbatch and they showed it on Conan O'Brien, and it's Cumberbatch from the waist up, just in the shower, and it's like for like a minute, and he's just like, and then he's like, "Yeah, like, see."
Well, why didn't they leave that in? I mean, if you're gonna do gratuitous, let's do it for both sides. Let's give everybody a chance.
It was pretty funny.
So I believe I mentioned something about Stalingrad, and I wasn't. It's a big epic battle film, and it's foreign, I believe, and I wanted to see what you guys thought of it.
Okay.
From Columbia Pictures.
They say the director is a mix between John Woo and Zack Snyder.
For Stalingrad?
He's directed some other popular movies, I guess. I am familiar with him.
Is he Russian?
I was gonna say this looks like it's all in Russian, so
It looks gorgeous.
yeah, it looks so pretty.
I can see the Zack Snyder influence.
A lot of slow-mo and cool imagery.
Yeah. I've not heard of this guy.
I didn't realize what the background song was until I was about 3/4 of the way through it. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah. Juxtaposition.
Russians.
Getting a little worried that there wasn't going to be any dialogue in the film, and then they said fire.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, the preview I linked.
Just a little
there's
concerned.
a point where you hear a plane, like the old bombers back in the day, and it's black when you hear it, and then when the screen lights up again, it's a B-52 crashing into like a battlefield, and it actually looks visually like it's really. Cool.
Yeah. I'm.
That looks really interesting. I gotta say.
I put pause on that one. So I'm always concerned with like war movies because I never know if they're going to be good. Like I don't know if I've seen a good one since Saving Private Ryan. Like I'm always concerned that it's not going to be any good. So that I saw that one. I think you put that one up, right? On the we have a conversation that we have all back and forth amongst us on Facebook that we can keep in contact with each other throughout the weeks while we're not recording, so we can get to things we want to review for the show more quickly. And Thomas put this up, and I was like, "Ooh, that actually looks really good." So I don't know. It's a World War II movie, and it's always one of those things where like, oh, good, another World War II movie, but it looks so amazing.
No, I'd like to see it. I got to tell you, Russians, those guys are just it's like a whole different world. You grow up with this idea of America and Britain and France and the Allies, right? But you forget that Russia was having its own thing on the side, and a much more brutal battle than anything the Americans or the Allies on the West ever saw, or battles, just a series of battles, and tons of Russians are killed. And there's just this kind of different mentality. Life is a lot less meaningful in a weird way. Like, it seems like Russians just get themselves into these situations where they get
they're just
murdered. They murder a lot.
All there is
it's just rough.
All there is trench coats and gruel and
it's
coldness.
Cold,
it's so cold
and brutal, and and they're just like, such is life, right?
Life is shit.
Where's the vodka?
Drink some vodka, eat a potato, die.
Kill half this vodka, you'll be fine.
Well, like even their current president, what is it, Putin? He's every picture you see of that guy, he's got his shirt off. He's out like wrestling a bear.
Yeah, he's riding a horse like without his shirt on.
Did you guys? Oh, never mind. Forget.
Well, Edward Snowden. You know how Edward Snowden has been the leaker guy?
Yes.
The traitor leaker guy has been like in a Russian airport for weeks. Some news people went to Putin and they're like, "What are you going to do with Snowden?" You know, and he's like,
don't
whatever.
care.
Yeah, like his life.
Have you looked around here? It's a shit country. I don't give a fuck.
They all drive. Everyone in Russia has like cameras on their dashboards now because they have too many people just like stealing cars or faking injuries and stuff. That's why any like asteroid that crashes or airplane that crashes, they always catch it on
in Russia
film now. Yeah. It's a crazy place.
And it just seems like everything bad happens in Russia. Maybe that's why, because there's constantly film rolling.
And yet they're not like freaked out about it. You talk to Russians and they're like,
Well, I don't know. I guess my only concern with that trailer is it just looks like nonstop battle sequences.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like I said, ooh, we get dialogue, we get fire, which is like the number one popular word in a war.
Right.
So I'm a little worried, but it's probably just beautiful.
Pretty.
It's probably just going to be really pretty to watch.
Yeah. But I wanted to bring pretty much the only reason I brought that trailer up is because it leads into our homework so perfectly.
Oh, our homework.
Oh, yeah.
So which we need to be getting on to.
So I assigned
Lewis's turn.
Slaughterhouse 5.
Yeah.
Which is a great book.
Yes.
I'm not sure that it's a great movie. I'd like to hear what you guys think.
I think the first thing I have written down was I liked it, but I didn't. What the fuck with Lazaro? That's all I have written down.
Paul Lazaro's an asshole,
what
isn't
the fuck?
I'll take a shot. No, it was a little hard to get into, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
It was a little confusing. It was made in the 70s.
72?
And it snaps forward and backwards and forward and backwards, and it was hard to.
Well, yes, but it wasn't even necessarily that. It was just how spontaneous it was at first. But it doesn't take long, or at least I was surprised how soon I caught up to like what was going on.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I was kind of like, in a way, this film is almost ahead of its time. It felt like kind of a strange, jumbled Forrest Gump type movie where it's going through its whole life.
Yeah.
And I was actually, I was like, okay, this is interesting. It might not be the most entertaining movie, but it's interesting, and I'm enjoying it thus far. And it's not very often you see, at least lately, American soldiers being prisoners of war during the World War II, just because it was such a violent war. But and then then it just kind of takes a dump on you.
Act 3 literally shits in your mouth. Yeah.
No,
really?
How so? What do you mean?
When he finally makes it to his Transylvania, or where the fuck his
Tralfamador?
Yeah, that.
Tralfamadorians.
Yeah.
Okay. This
we
is
exist in the fourth dimension. Are you going to mate?
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
It's like
a perv finally admits
it. They sound so philosophical. Same with the main character. He's explaining it, how we're nothing but we're everything, and that they're from the fourth dimension, and that they've explored like 500,000 planets, and that this was like planet Earth is the only planet where they discovered what
where they have
people believe in free will.
Free will. And you know what happens? I mean, and you're like, okay, these are interesting, wise aliens. They transport a girl. She tackles him. Are you guys mating?
Right? They're like
these
like,
wise aliens that apparently
they turn into
the universe.
13-year-old boys.
These aliens, and I know I'm concentrating on the aliens. There's a lot more to this film than that, but
this is the most bizarre portion of the film.
These aliens know exactly how and when the universe will end. Like they even make the statement.
Yeah.
And we let it happen. Yeah,
because it always has and will happen.
Yes.
They don't let it.
Stop
they can't.
Yeah.
Not let it
the
happen.
lights go out. Are you guys
mating? I love that. Yeah, I thought that was really great. They turned into a bunch of pervy teens,
and that really the mood was just like.
And the applause, all the silent applause you can't see, right?
Yeah.
No thanks.
Well, and just that weird. When the first scene when they're in there, I looked over at Amy. I was like, "What the fuck are they in? Are they in like a jungle gym? What is that?" And then it doesn't. And then it's not because you see that that's one of the first scenes of the movie, and then you don't find out what that is until Act 3. You're like,
right.
What the fuck? This is so. It hurts my head. But then you're trying to figure out, okay, is this dude actually a time traveler, or is he just got a really vivid imagination and able to remember all of his memories very accurately?
I actually thought at one point that maybe he was insane because
that's what I was kind of thinking too, because of he created the plane. Yeah, the plane crash. He created his own planet.
How sane can you be if you're like, I am currently on an alien planet having a child?
With a famous actor that I saw on the movie Skidder. Yeah,
but he also knows exactly how he's going to be killed, and he's right.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing. That's a weird thing too. Like, if you knew how you were going to be killed, would you just avoid that? Like, just not get out of bed?
That's the point.
Yeah,
you can't.
If there's no
free will. Everything will happen.
Yeah. It's just that we can't see and live in the fourth dimension. That's the problem.
Damn it.
No, they did.
Apparently, there's a lot of boobies in the fourth dimension.
They did an amazing job for back in the day, making him look younger and older.
The makeup's
I was impressed with that.
Pretty decent. Maybe this is part of my problem with the film.
He looks like a murderer.
Well, I feel like so the story itself, even with the aliens and stuff, which is in the book, works for me. Okay, it's philosophical. It's postmodern in how it moves back and forth through time.
And this is the book, right?
The book.
Okay.
But when I see Billy Pilgrim in my head when I'm reading it versus the actor that plays him, I don't see him the same way. And the actor they got to play the lead, they found a guy, and I think they purposefully wanted a guy who looks kind of simple. Like,
they nailed that.
Not too smart, not too active, just kind of white and dull and
kind of vanilla-ish.
Literally, look at him. He's blonde. He's really pale. He's literally vanilla, right? The problem is it's really hard to just watch that. When you read the book, Billy Pilgrim is kind of he just kind of drifts through the book.
He kind of drifts through the movie too, but
it's okay in the book because you have a voice, the narrator's voice, that keeps you going. Yeah. Whereas in the movie, we need him as our anchor, and I don't feel like he's able to.
He was there, yeah. Like here's him as a young person. Here's him as an old person. And for the people that are only listening, sorry, you can't see what we're talking about, but
they do a good job. With the makeup.
They do a really good job,
especially for 72.
For 72, or it came out in 72, so it was probably filmed in 71, most likely.
Yeah.
Here's tryptophan, or whatever. Tralfamador, whatever the fuck. Damn it, it's not coming in very clear, but that's Tralfamador.
No, I think. Oh, go ahead.
Tralfamador shows up in 4 or 5 of Kurt Vonnegut's books.
Oh, really? Is it something that he created himself?
Yeah, it's his alien race and planet where he is able to discuss.
There we go.
Free will, or the lack of free will, because that's a big thing for Vonnegut. He really wants us to understand that if you understand real physics and stuff, the idea of the past and the future and being able to control that is actually kind of nonsensical. Like, scientifically, well, we talk about the past as if we could change it sometimes. We'll say things like, you know what, if you'd have only come on time, then none of this would have happened.
Right.
We say stuff like that. and it's meaningless. You can't ever go back in time and change things. So how do we ever know how things would have been different? We don't. We just create a story about how it'll be different. And the same with the future. If you don't invest some money, you're not going to have enough to live on when you retire. We don't know. I might get hit by a car tomorrow.
Right.
Like, it does. Who knows what's right? Or I might invest all my stuff and then Wall Street will destroy my 401k. Who knows? Or I might decide not to invest and Wall Street won't destroy it and I end up being poor. Am I hitting you with my hand? So my point is that we live in this kind of space where we think there's a past and we think there's a future that is somehow changeable. And Vonnegut's calling us out and saying, actually, just live in the present because that's the only thing that's real.
So it goes. Yeah, that's the.
He says so it goes all through the
all
book.
Throughout the book.
Every time a character dies, he says so it goes.
Well, film-wise, though, not just the story, the novel. I think the whole thing was absolutely worth it to watch his wife drive to the hospital.
Oh my god!
Yeah, wasn't that the best thing you've ever seen in your life?
We were peeing our pants and we were laughing so hard about that.
Oh, Jesus,
that scene! That scene starts, and I'm watching it with my wife Amy. That scene starts, and she goes, "Wow, what the fuck just happened there?" I'm like, I don't know. She's not really with it very much, and then it just starts going worse and worse and worse. And I'm like,
and it's so,
what the holy hell is happening?
It's just so ridiculous.
It was so great, though. It was so funny.
It reminds me of Blues Brothers driving.
It's like through the mall.
Yeah, exactly. So she's driving and driving. It's ridiculous, and she's so worried. What does she keep repeating? She keeps saying, like, I'm coming, Billy. I'm coming, Billy. And then you find out it's like it just cuts. She hits into the wall, and then they take her away, and they pass each other in the hallway. And then you find out later she was dead.
A question: maybe I was wrong, but didn't it look like she arrived at the hospital and just slammed into
yes,
and she died from carbon
monoxide poisoning.
Yeah, how? And I swear, like half her car was missing, so I'm not sure.
It was so for real. That with the whole thing,
well,
she was riding
that was coming off her car. A lot
up
of it
and
was
down the hills,
the
the medians, and
just her going down the wrong way,
and then you get.
I thought the wife was fantastic throughout.
But then you get the moment where he gives her the present, and he gives her the bow when she walks down the stairs to get her brand new car, and you realize that's the car we just saw the scene with. So I think the in and out of time really works.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. I actually did appreciate that too.
I hate that scene.
You didn't like
so
that?
Much. Like it was funny, but when I like thought of it as a whole like. I'm like, wait, what's this? What? They didn't even show. She just literally like you see her at one point, and then she snaps apparently while she's driving. And
she literally snaps.
Yeah, but there's no leading up to that.
Nope, it just cuts straight to it. So, but part of the goal of this story is to get us out of the idea that one thing leads to the next. It's to kind of tell us that everything is at the same time. So we see her kill herself basically with this Cadillac, right? We see the wife kill herself with this Cadillac.
On accident, but yes.
On accident. And then we cut to her birthday where she gets the Cadillac.
Yeah.
After we know that's the thing that's going to kill
her. Yeah.
And she's so happy and she's so excited. And yet we can't see it the same way she sees it because we know what's coming
or what's about to happen to her. Yeah.
And she can't make a choice when she's getting a she can't sit there and go, "Oh, I'll probably die if I accept this gift." She just is excited and she's going to accept it and she's going to die, and that's just it. That's what it is. It is what it is. And I think that's a really hard lesson.
Well, and it's a hard thing to wrap your brain around too. So
right.
Yeah.
That is
So guys, I gave it like 2 stars. It's not my favorite movie by any means.
Yeah.
It's largely unsuccessful.
I was actually hoping, like with the aliens, it wasn't the aliens. It was just how they introduced the aliens that really would throw the average viewer off. I think.
Yeah, it's very weird. That's part of why I like it, though. Is I knew that as weird as it is with the time traveling, it's even weirder that aliens suddenly show up and it's out of nowhere, right?
The aliens,
and how they arrive is weird. Like there's one little teeny little suggestion of it earlier, and then the suggestion comes back like, oh, hey, there's that thing that I saw 45 minutes ago. Oh, wow, that took a really random turn to left field.
The cheesy effects and how they arrived in, it's just more like, okay, they kind of introduced them as these fourth dimensional, wise, super intelligent aliens, and then you're kind of like, wait, what? Did they just say that?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe it's a one. No, they're
really
egging them on.
Kind of obsessed with that, actually. Maybe they're obsessed with it because they can't procreate themselves.
There's another book by Kurt Vonnegut called The Sirens of Titan, and I'm going to spoil it right now, so you should all stop your podcast. In The Sirens of Titan, the humans finally get out to this moon around Saturn called Titan. And there they discover an alien. It's one of these Tralfamadorians. And they ask the alien, what's going on? The alien's basically immortal. And it says, well, I crash landed here on Titan. And my spaceship, I was able to repair most of it. But there was a metal I needed to finish the repair so I could leave. And I couldn't get that metal on this planet. And I couldn't get off the planet. So what I did to get the metal that I needed was I took some DNA seeds and I shot them at the blue planet that had the metal I needed and created life there, and that life evolved into humans and everything else, and those humans eventually built spaceships and they brought metal in those spaceships here to Titan.
That's awesome.
So that I could fix my ship. So, if you ever wondered what the whole purpose of life is and why humans exist at all,
to get that one
so
person
you can
off.
fix my spaceship.
Awesome.
And then he fixes his ship and he flies off, and all the humans are just left with that's it.
So all of our philosophies and all of it's just bullshit.
Well, it's like the worst reason, right?
Yeah,
that's the kind of books. If you think
I do
kind of
like that kind of stuff.
You should, and his books are so easy to read. They're literally written for an 8-year-old. His 8-year-old
Are they
sister.
adult or young adult literature?
No, they're not. They're taught in college sometimes, but
they're just easy reads.
But they're written at a level that anyone, an 8th grader
and any
could
of
read
his nonfiction stuff as well. He talks about writing or
he's
before
wonderful.
he died.
I highly recommend
fantastic.
Kurt Vonnegut.
Yeah,
So overall, though,
delightful.
Can we? I can't really recommend the movie.
It's not.
It made for a great discussion on the show. I don't know if I would tell any of my friends and be like, "Oh, dude, you know what? You should sit down and watch."
No, Kim and I finished, and I looked at her and I was like, "That wasn't very good." It's disappointing. It's the same guy who
But
made
the car scene's so
the car
great.
scene's hilarious. I agree.
Best part. No, we kind of just enjoyed it because we like Kurt Vonnegut Jr. and we like his stories and all this stuff. So
And Paul Lazaro is like the best villain, the most villainous villain ever. And
Jesus, what the fuck is wrong with that guy?
And you get to see some of the hopeless, meaningless lives and deaths, like that poor guy gets murdered
with
at
the
end
trinket.
for
Yeah, that was such a bummer.
nothing.
Like they got the nicest guy they could ever find.
Yeah,
because of the rule.
The rule.
You don't take anything. If you do, you get shot.
And
they do it, and then they just throw it on the ground. They don't really care about it anyway. It's just the rules.
It's the rules. Yeah.
And it was just
as soon as they said, "Hey, give me that," I'm like, I leaned over to Amy. I was like, "They're gonna throw that on the ground." Like they do not give a fuck about that trinket.
No.
And we knew he was going to die because they'd said it earlier in the show.
Yep.
Oh, he was your friend that was killed.
What was his name again? And she wants to tell all these stories.
She was weird.
She was annoying,
quirky. Yeah, she annoyed me too. I'm gonna lose weight for you. Fuck off already.
And every day she comes out in the yard and she's like,
fat.
"I made a cake. I made some pie."
Yeah, it's not a great
there's 13
movie.
pounds of bacon for you, honey.
It's not a great movie, but
it does spark some great conversation.
Yeah.
You want a good conversation piece? You like to discuss
if you want to
things,
see a movie unlike anything else, then this
agreed.
might be the one to try.
Yeah, it starts off weird, the middle of it's weird, it ends weird. It just kind of stops. There's honestly, there's no resolve to it or anything. It just kind of stops playing, and all of a sudden the credits roll up. I'm like, oh, that was mildly to almost severely disappointing.
All right, what are we gonna do for homework?
Well, Jared isn't here, but it is his turn, and I had him text me what he wanted us to watch. So unfortunately, he won't be here to assign it And he probably to be honest, everybody knows now the joke's out of the bag. He won't be here to review it either. So, but he texted me and he said he said that he wanted us to watch a remake of a 1996 movie called Pusher, and it is a remake of a Dutch film.
Yes, Pusher.
Called Pusher, yeah, and
from
that's
96.
Oh,
from 96, yeah. So this is
Winding Refn. That's great.
We
talked about Killing Them Softly.
He did
That's coming up.
He did Bronson.
He didn't do that.
The one that's coming up is Only God Forgives.
Oh, the new one with Hottie Pants. The other one,
Gosling.
So,
the other one.
So many these days. God damn it, can't keep track of them all.
So 2012 Pusher.
The 2012 version of Pusher, which I believe if you type in Pusher on Netflix, the 2012 one comes up because I wanted to watch and compare, and
I did too,
and
but
it wasn't available. So Pusher, watch Pusher, check it out. Let us come back to you next week, and we'll have a discussion much like we just had about Slaughterhouse 5 about that. And if you want to get us, you can get us on. You can get me on the Twitter and Jared on the Twitter. I'm at Nathan L. Betts. Jared is at Sir Jared. You can call us 1-888-317-2694. There's we're on Stitcher now. Just go to Stitcher.com or actually just go to your store. Sure. Go to your store on your phone, on the Google Play Store or the iTunes Store, and download Stitcher. If you don't already have Stitcher, there's a place to say where you heard about Stitcher. Say you heard about Time Spent Poorly, and that will help us out. And there's the YouTube, youtube.com/Time Spent Poorly. You can find us literally anywhere. There's no excuse why you can't find what you want, what we're up to at this point. We've made it so incredibly easy. So check all that out. And I can't say enough how weird this is to be in control of this show because, I mean, I've been here-ish, but I don't run it. So it's weird, but thank you guys for listening. Tell a friend if you like what you hear. If you like movies, you're gonna like this show, and you'll like other stuff that's on the Time Spent Poorly Podcast Network. And thanks for listening, and make sure you guys have a wonderful movie night.